Hey there everyone, and I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here right in my garden for yet again another episode of my orchid adventures with who? Oh, I think you guys already know, with me, Maria Young. Before we begin our mission today, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about the root system of vandas and also other orchids that have very vivacious, very thick and fleshy root systems that really give off quite a display. Okay, so many of my viewers and also my friends have asked me certain questions about vandas, especially pertaining to their root system. Some of you guys have had issues where the root system have been set aback, or perhaps some of the root tips have blackened or browned, or some of the roots have even shriveled up. First and foremost, I want to tell you, don't over-exasperate yourself and overly worry, folks, if it's nothing major. A lot of times your orchids, especially your vandas, are very, very hardy and self-sustaining, okay? They can lose a lot of their roots and still bounce back because they have such a way of growing new roots. Again, please do not overly concern and worry yourself. The only time you have to take appropriate and very quick action, folks, is when you notice some sort of infection that's really going on with your orchid. Then, of course, jump to your orchid guns and get on that battlefield and fight whatever infection it may have. But if you are noticing just minor issues, once in a while my orchids, my vandas, well, all of a sudden some of their root tips will blacken for no reason at all, and I'm like, what are you doing to me? Perhaps it got a little bit too dry in your condition, or perhaps it didn't get enough watering, or perhaps you might have mixed in your fertilizer and didn't dilute it enough and the fertilizer was too strong. A number of reasons can cause this, but within time they bounce right back, they grow new roots, and they're back to normal again, just as long as you're not noticing a drastic effect where majority of the roots are becoming affected, a major amount of roots are browning and yellowing and shriveling up all at one time. Then folks, I would not overly concern yourself. And if that's what's happening to you, as in this case right here, this is going to be my example of the day, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I have to do in this case, because something is definitely majorly wrong. Okay, with that in mind, folks, let's go ahead and get this mission underway, like right now. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this vanda. At first glance, you're seeing nothing majorly wrong with it, right? It seems to be pretty healthy. And wow, wow, wow. Will you check out the roots on this vanda right here? Oh my, having this many roots on a vanda must certainly mean that this is in tip-top condition, wouldn't you say? But let's really put this orchid vanda to the test by watering its root system. And now let's take a closer look. As you're seeing, there is so much yellowing going on with this vanda right here. And also taking a close look, you're also seeing a lot of shriveling up all at one time. And you're noticing a great abundance of the root system, showing something is going on with this vanda. Indeed, this is troubling. And as a matter of fact, folks, the only root system that is showing any type of new root tip growth is this one particular root system right here. The rest, of course, again, looks very yellowed and a lot of shriveling up going on, and not a single new root tip in sight. And with that in mind, folks, it really alerted me that something was seriously wrong with this vanda right here, and that I indeed needed to take a more in-depth and closer look at this vanda. And the first thing that I did with this vanda is I started checking the base of the vanda stem. And because this was so cluttered with many leaves that were already yellowing and a bit shriveled, I decided to clean this up a bit and take those bottom layer of leaves away. And oh my goodness, this is what I discovered right here. A very browned and blackened stem area that really appears to have died and really does not have any life substance in this bottom area right here. So my assumption is, because of that, this root system that was once healthy has been tragically affected and definitely showing some very extreme and stressed out signs. So I have no other choice but to remove this area as much as I can so as to not spread whatever it may have onto the healthier part of the plant. Now, in this case, you are noticing only one very healthy root system. Usually when you do something like this, especially during a propagation method, you would normally have about 2 to 3 healthy root systems. But in this case, folks, this is not your normal situation. Something is definitely going on and something has to be done about it right away. And the unfortunate thing about this, folks, is will you take a look right here? Oh my, this has already started spiking, and this would have been my very first bloom. So knowing that I have to do something very extreme to this Vanda, I am also risking losing this right here, this possible very beautiful spike. But you know what? All in the love of this Vanda, folks, I would much rather have this survive so that we can get many, many more blooms in the future. All of a sudden it got really, really dark, and I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it is pouring cats and dogs, or shall I say cattleyas and dendrobiums right outside. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this project indoors because you guys know a little bit of rain does not stop the orchid parade. And ta-da! And voila! Just like that. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this mission completed. Let's get the party started, y'all. Let's get the party started. And these are the materials that are going to be used in our rescue operation today. Right here, you're seeing the spray bottle that will be containing this peroxide. We will use these to go ahead and spray down the entire Vanda and make sure that it is disinfected. Now, right here, you're seeing a container, and it also holds this peroxide in there as well. And inside, you are seeing the clipper that we're going to be using to cut the Vanda, and that is also sanitizing in that peroxide. Right here you see cinnamon, which is going to be addressing the wound area of the Vanda. And right over here you're seeing the twisty ties that it's actually going to attach that Vanda onto this metal wire hook right here. Okay folks, and as I explained earlier, we actually are only dealing with one healthy root system right here because we are going to make the incision, that cut right above that blackened area. And as we talked about earlier, right here at the base of the Vanda stem, you are definitely seeing a blackened area, somewhat of some form of rotting right here. So unfortunately, because this rot area or this blackened area rises above so close to this root area right here, which after we cut it is going to be the only root system that is going to be remaining, unfortunately. Now, of course, because it rises up so high, we are going to have to cut as close as we can to this root without, of course, harming or damaging the root system. So this is going to have to be a very careful process. And folks, it is very unfortunate that we only have one root system to work with right here. Now, you know, on a regular basis, when you are doing a propagation method on a healthy Vanda, it would require at least 2 to 3 healthy root system. But in this case, folks, because it is a state of Vanda emergency and this has to be done as soon as possible, we are going to have to settle for this one root right here. But I will have to say that we are very, very fortunate with this one root right here, because this is acting as a main vein with several capillaries that extend from that main root. So as you can see, branching off are several little roots also as well. And if we take a close look at the tips, you are seeing a lot of green right there, because these tips signify that these roots indeed are growing and flourishing. So this is a very healthy, fleshy root system, and we are finger crossing that indeed this is going to be able to withstand what we're going to put this Vanda through, and indeed be capable of sustaining this Vanda in its recovery. And here we are. We're going to go ahead and start the sanitizing process of this Vanda, and I'm going to thoroughly saturate all of her roots, all of her foliage, and we indeed are going to do some serious disinfecting on this Vanda right here. Okay folks, so now that this entire Vanda has been soaked or sprayed down thoroughly with peroxide from the top of the foliage down to the very base of the root, yeah, we are now ready for some clipping action. Oh my. Okay folks, here we go, here we go, here we go now. Okay, as I stated, the blackened area or the browning area goes all the way up. So we are actually going to have to try to get as close to that root as possible, again, without damaging the actual root system. So here we go, folks, here we go. And there, it is done. It is done, folks. Fully clipped, and we're gonna take a closer look to see exactly how it looks. Okay, and here she is. We did a pretty good cut right here. It is unfortunate though, I am seeing a little browning at the tip on one side, a slight browning right there. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to sanitize, of course put some cinnamon there, and hope that that infection or that rot does not settle in to the top portion right here. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of finger crossing, folks, so start finger crossing all over the world, okay? And here's the other part, the other side of the story right here. And wow, just such a waste of all of that root system right there. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at that stem area though. And here it is, folks. And as I stated to one of the sides, you are definitely seeing that browning, blackening area that was beginning to travel up. So yeah, this is a dire case right here, and I'm not even sure if we caught it in enough time. Not looking so good as of right now, folks, especially from the evidence of the bottom portion of this stem and root area. And here we have a cotton swab, and we're going to have some cinnamon action going on here. Of course, getting that cinnamon all at the tip of this cotton swab in preparation to go ahead and put this on the base of the cut area. Okay, and here we are. We're just gently putting that cinnamon all on the base area where that cut was. And what this is going to do is it's going to help to sanitize and disinfect, but it's also going to help the healing process by allowing this to dry so quickly. Okay, so all we're doing now is we're taking that twisty tie and we're going to go ahead and secure this Vanda onto this metal hook area. Indeed, that is where she will be doing her recovery, and that is where she will be literally hanging out. Okay folks, mission Vanda rescue now fully complete, and here you see her attached to this wire metal hanger right here. And indeed, now it's just a matter of time. It is the waiting game, and we have to finger cross that everything goes well, and indeed she fully recovers and bounces back from this. So I need all of your positive vibes, your prayers, and your wishes, And indeed, let's make this Vanda's dream come true. To thrive, survive, flourish, and of course, bloom. Don't panic. Don't get all set. What am I talking about? And oh my gosh, if I do this one more time, let's not get lost in the show and not in the. That was going so well. It really was. I actually liked that intro.